Hi, this is the evaluation of the order trading system for February the 10th, 2021. We had 3 trades on that day, all were buy trades. First trade was BGFV. BGFE is the company name. It tripped at 11:29:18 a.m. at a price of 15.49. It closed the day at 15.62, up 0.90%. Definitely is a positive result. Check the indicators to see if they show that it is going in that direction. OBV moving upwards somewhat. MACD moving upwards in general. DI, interestingly enough, actually is moving. Yeah. We caught DI up here where it peaked, but in general, it looks like DI is showing that it was moving negative more than positive. And Bollinger Band, I think just because of DI, it's more negative positive, but in general, its result is somewhat bouncing back and forth a bit. At the end of the day, it was showing that it was moving positive again, but let's see if we can get more of a bring up to 14.5 to see if we can get more of a no, not by much. Not by much. It's really showing negative. It's interesting because indicators are actually not showing heavily positive. In fact, DI itself is showing more negative than positive. We just happened to catch it when it jumped up, obviously, in the afternoon period here. It tripped at 11:29. So we actually caught it up here, not down here. This first jump, we caught it up here. And the average was coming down. It's a very interesting stock. It ended the day up, but indicators were not really showing that it was really moving in that direction. So that's an interesting outcome. Next trade is EL. That's Estee Lauder Company. Tripped 11:45, 11 a.m. at a price of 287.42. It closed the day at 284.40. Okay. At 11:45, tripped around this period. Okay, 292, 88. It was almost half an hour here just after it tripped that it stayed above it or went above its tripping price. A little bit there, so a little bit. Yeah, no, I'm going to call it a positive because in general it's above its tripping price more than what I require for it to be positive in general. But you can see though, right after that period though, it came down. Somewhat moved sideways, but it did come down. Let's see if the profiles themselves are showing that that's what is occurring. Because the OBV itself is someone that's showing that it came up around this period of time and then dropped. I didn't see how much. Up 1.81%. It was up above its previous close. OBV came down a bit, moved sideways. MACD, you can see it jumped up, it came down, somewhat moved sideways. DI actually showed fairly good positive direction in the tripping time, negative and positive. It's showing more positive and negative. End of the day, it's actually showing a battle between positive and negative, so there's no real explicit strength there, which kind of like indicates sideways movements. Bollinger Band, yeah, it came up, down a little bit, then moved sideways. There was opportunity there. I think just from the indicators, this would have been a possible if there was no potential buy opportunities after it tripped. So next trade is ETSY. That is Etsy Incorporated. Tripped at 12:49:34 p.m. at a price of 228.04. And it closed the day at 225.65, down 1.84%. So the stock actually closed the day below its previous, so it closed below. Was there any opportunity? Let's see, 12.49, 229. Yeah. It moved sideways, so it tripped and then moved sideways. But there was, during the afternoon, multiple periods where it was above its tripping price. Not extensively, but still it would have been potentially enabling a point to get out. That kind of stock, if you traded on it, most likely it would have been just the opportunity to get out without losing any money, obviously, as you would not make probably too much money because the price was not up much from its tripping price, unless you bought a huge amount of stock on it, of course. Check the indicators. OBV showing fairly good. MACD showing positive and the sideways, and that you can see the end of days where it dropped, where it came down. Like the end of the day, it did come down. DI again, yeah, in the afternoon was showing positive, and you can see a negative downward trend, and Bollinger Band, same thing. So not strong. It was positive for most part of the day, and then end of days where it just went negative. Yeah. The markets yesterday were moving a little bit negative itself, so this could have been just a result that things were technically in a negative direction movement, and the stock here, while it did increase. If we take a look, previous close 229.87. No, yeah, it never really moved much above its close from previous day. I say it's positive, but it's a very, very, very tricky one. In fact, the stocks today were very, very tricky stocks, even though there were there were opportunities to get out on the stocks after the tripping price was achieved. The indicators are actually not showing very, very strongly the direction. They tripped, obviously, so there was a period of time where they came up above the point of the indication of the movement in a direction enough to indicate a movement in that direction, which they were. All the indicators weren't lying. They just were not able to maintain it. You know, that could be just as much as anything else. The market itself, the markets just were not strong yesterday across the board, and we just have to be catching some stocks that were moving up a little bit, but then just settled down and didn't maintain. So all I can say, that's just another day in the markets, and those are the type of things you have to get used to and comfortable with. That things are never really as apparent as they may seem. That things can change very, very easily, and you have to get comfortable with the stock markets. It's one thing you learn from playing around with the stock markets for any period of time, is that they mention the aspect of the markets being volatile, and what they mean is the aspect that things change somewhat regularly and consistently. And a lot of times there's actually no explanation of it. If the stock is moving up because of the company itself is doing well, or something happened that pushed the stock that way, then that's fine. But you find out that the markets themselves, because of the financial organizations that work in that particular domain, they don't really play in that kind of mindset. It's not like, oh, stock, the company's doing well, so I'm going to buy into that stock. It's really, how people are perceiving, the company and its potential to maintain and continually move in the direction that they're uh, they're hoping that it moves, and then reacting to the circumstances and situations, and obviously performing activities on the company stock based on what they want it to do is what's occurring. So the fact that it's volatile is not because the stock is moving up or down because the company's doing bad or good. It's really how the financial organizations are really controlling the stock to do what they wanted to do. And us low end, secondary people who are not traders trying to at least make some money off of it have to play the game somewhat and sit there say, can I make money off of this stock because it looks like the company is moving up, because the price is moving up, and then that's the way you go. That's just the circumstances and situations you have to deal with. So anyways, that's my prophecies and my commenting on the activity of the stock market. It's only because today is we had three trades. And I say three positive trades because it did have potential opportunities on all three stocks. But the indicators in general were not showing strong movement across the board. And it's not that the system itself is not doing what it's supposed to be doing. Exactly what it's supposed to be doing. Is the whole thing is it can't predict the future. This is not a future predicting system itself. It's a monitoring system that just identifies hey, the numbers are showing that the activity on that particular company stock is moving in a direction that indicates some sort of pattern that the evaluation has determined that there's potential there, and it's just that the stocks just didn't continue. They just didn't continue. Like it did, the stock went up, and then it pretty much just tapered off, I guess, because of whatever reason. And you have to get used to it. Anyways, I'll leave it at that. Thank you very much for watching.